Welcome and thanks so much for joining us. During these interesting times, we would like to share some great discussions that we are having with thought leaders and professionals, where we talk about the realities of remote and virtual work and a growing open talent market. We do deep dives into important topics and tackling some of the real challenges and ask some of the difficult questions. Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm the CEO of One Circle HR, the coolest freelance HR platform for consultants. We are cheerleaders of virtual remote work, and with every discussion, we hope that we make the journey for some of you towards virtual work more enjoyable. We know there is great content out there, and we want ours to be easy to digest and to implement with depth of expertise, but we also want it to be fun. Today, joining me is Dana Zelicha. Dana is a leading mindfulness consultant in corporate and organizational contexts. Dana is endorsed by the London School of Economics. She worked with the likes of McKinsey Co, Citibank, Zara, and Novartis to bring practical mindfulness to the workplace while focusing on peak performance, well-being, and diversity and inclusion. As a leading specialist in the field, Dana contributed to numerous titles such as The Economist, The Daily Mail, Health and Fitness, PA Life, and HR News. Dana's mindfulness tools and resources were developed through extensive academic research and field testing, and has proven to improve well-being, leadership skills of senior management, but as well the overall team productivity. Hi, Dana, and welcome, and thank you really for joining us in our One Circle Yellow Room discussion. So, Dana, tell us, what is mindfulness at work?
Thank you, Emma. Thanks for inviting me, and thanks for the warm welcome. I hope you're feeling good today and safe, and everything is feeling, I hope, back to normal wherever you are. So yeah, mindfulness at work. Wow, it's such a broad topic, but mindfulness basically, as it is, as a concept, is our quality of presence, is our ability to identify in real time what's going on here in our minds, here in our hearts, our emotional state, and also in our bodies, and then respond skillfully rather than automatically to any stimulus or distraction we may encounter. So basically, most of the day, we're working on autopilot. And when we're bringing mindfulness into the workplace, we're actually allowing ourselves to be present and to feel and to engage and to connect, and not to feel like we're responding to every stimulus with our autopilot, whether it's our attitudes, our behaviors, or perhaps even how we think about things and judge. And when you bring mindfulness into the workplace, it has many benefits.
So how would you use mindfulness to improve the employee well-being and the leadership skills and the productivity of the team?
Well, that's a fair question, right? Because one may say that they're skeptical about mindfulness and how it can boost actually, all these measurements because they are robust measurements. But science shows that actually, if you practice mindfulness regularly on a weekly basis and you roll out the protocol of 6 to 8 weeks in an organization, you can literally transform these measurements. So studies show, and also case studies from the workplace that I've been rolling out, have shown that if you properly roll out these programs, you can easily boost employee resilience, employee performance, employee well-being. And it's all by really rewiring our brain. So mindfulness is brain training. And if you create a sustained habit at work, science shows an fMRIs of the brain that you actually change areas in the prefrontal cortex. So if you see the scans of the brain, the areas responsible for our avoidance mode in the brain, which are generating more stress, aversion, anxiety, and also procrastination sometimes, which is much connected to anxiety. And people think in the workplace that procrastination is laziness, but I must enlighten you and invite you to think about procrastination as also an avoidance mode of our brains, because sometimes we have no idea how to tackle the task. So
Yes.
procrastination,
You push it,
procrastination,
huh?
push it, but it's not because of laziness. It's sometimes lack of support, lack of knowledge. We just need to identify, to be mindful of what's going on, and have this buffer of realizing, okay, so I procrastinate because I have no idea how to tackle it and I need support. So I need to call someone, a colleague or someone who knows what to do. So basically, these areas show reduced activity in the brain after only 8 weeks of practice. It's amazing to see that the brain is plastic. And then areas responsible for our openness mode, which are responsible for curiosity, innovation, empathy, and compassion, they show increased activity in fMRIs of the brain after only 6 to 8 weeks of practice. So I think these results are startling. And it's not only that we see it in the brain, we see it in the bottom line as well. Most of my clients have benefited from mindfulness in various ways that are related to productivity and profit. And there's been a very famous case study that was released on Reuters of SAP, the German company that rolled out a big mindfulness program. They have a chief mindfulness officer, which is called the new CMO.
Wow.
And they've successfully rolled out the program, and they've seen a 200% ROI, which translated to 85 to 95 million euro increase in operating profit, which is,
That's
I think,
amazing.
I think it's amazing as well.
Yeah.
And it was just a 2-day program from what I know that they rolled out to 22,000 employees. So I think that, these robust evidence and results show that the efficacy of mindfulness in the workplace. And I don't think it's only work-life balance. It's also purpose and meaning.
Yes.
People are getting up in the morning and coming to work, especially at times like COVID, and they need to feel like they're working for something that brings them joy and purpose.
Yeah, that's true. And it brings up that level of confidence, right? That you are actually doing the right thing for you, for your family, and that level of satisfaction. So it impacts that lack of uncertainty that we are living in. And yeah, and then it gets you focused. It's amazing. Chief Mindfulness Officer. A lot of people
Yeah,
are
it's
skeptic
everywhere, I think.
about mindfulness. I think not a lot of people are aware about the benefits.
Well, I'm more than happy to inform them about the benefits, but they can also read about it online. There are more than 4,000 studies about this field and
Wow.
empirical results, and you can see lots of evidence out there. It has been growing, and mindfulness has been practiced from the 70s. It's not a new methodology. It started from the medical world, and then to the educational world, and then the workplace, and now in politics and many avenues of life.
Wow.
But I think now during the COVID, I've seen a dramatic increase in demand and need for mindfulness. And I've been working, that it was hard for me even to schedule this session because I've been working hard with my mission to provide those practical tools and allow teams to facilitate this quality of presence when we have less freedom, when we
Yes.
feel a high level of uncertainty, as you mentioned before. And we need those practical tools to ground us, to allow
Yes.
us peace of mind, and also foster a sense of safety, right? Psychological safety, because we're now moving into a hybrid working mode,
Yeah.
and people might be feeling anxiety about it and fear. And I think it's very important to get acquainted with ourselves and to know when we feel safe, and to just be in tune with what we feel rather than avoid it, in order for us to feel good about what's going on right now and to
Yeah.
make mindful choices.
That brings me to my next question. Is that with the current work setup, so we're not working in a traditional organization anymore where everybody is in the same physical office space. And Right now, most people are working remote, and a lot of organizations are planning on carrying on with that work arrangement later. So, how does it work now? How can you drive mindfulness within the organization when everybody is working remotely?
That's a very good question. It's super relevant these days because obviously most of the companies, the big corporates, haven't gotten back to their workplace, to their
Yeah,
offices. So I think the biggest struggle I've seen within the teams I've been supporting and all my clients is this a juggling. We've all been juggling our personal and professional lives during this extended lockdown, right? We
yeah.
had remote work, we had homeschooling, we had cooking, organizing the flat. We had everything at once, and all the boundaries have blurred. And I think what I've seen, and I have seen also the statistics that are actually very worrying about the burnout and the mental exhaustion we're all feeling right now. And I diagnosed it as something that came as a result of the multitasking. We've all been multitasking all the time. And I know for a fact, because this is also something that is grounded in science, that multitasking is actually counterproductive. And, it also increases our stress levels.
Yeah.
And science shows that actually it's reducing our productivity by 40% and even lowers our IQ if we multitask in a chronic way. So
That's not good
you can,
news for anybody.
I know, but it's something, it's reversible. So we can easily tackle it with unitasking practices that are one of the techniques that I'm offering my clients these days to train our brains to focus on one task at hand and to choose these tasks. And if you find a distraction, right, we can't really focus all the time because we're also exposed to the world, and we have to be also attentive to what's going on around us. So the ability to also mindfully choose those distractions rather than respond to any distraction automatically, I think is a one of the strengths of what mindfulness and this quality of presence allows you in real time. But I see a real struggle with the juggling and the multitasking. And mindfulness, I know for a fact, can provide the antidote for that.
Wow. But that's as well because a lot of a lot of people shifted overnight to remote work. And
True.
while the whole family as well is working remote. So that's multitasking with, life. You're running your own personal life at the same time while you are working. And you want to prove that, you're still productive, you're engaged, and you want to get your mind off what is happening around you. So, as you mentioned, it increases that level of anxiety and fear. But I mean, how, as a remote leader, how can you use mindfulness to reduce that anxiety and fear for your own teams?
Well, I believe that there are two aspects of looking at it. If you're a leader that would like to foster more empathy within the team and connection because you feel like the remote working style has created more anxiety for your team members. So I think really scheduling even mindful meetings with your team members and deciding on a catch up work coffee style I think would benefit from, I think, more than what you think. Because sometimes having a coffee break with one of your colleagues on Zoom without a purpose, without any meaning
Agenda.
of agenda, yeah, of really creating value would really create more connection and collaboration in the long run. And this is what I advise many leaders, because I think employees are suffering from lack of motivation, low morale these days because of this anxiety that you are referring to. And if we arrive with an open mind and heart to any situation and cultivate empathy, connect with your employees on a deeper level, even though it's on Zoom, and also facilitate mindful listening. Unfortunately, I won't be able to demonstrate all these tools that I'm referring to: mindful listening, unitasking, mindful meetings, but these are practical tools to really foster a sense of freedom, foster a sense of belonging within the team, and then motivate each other to push forward. And I think it's very important these days, because people are feeling down, they are
Yeah.
exhausted. And as an employee, as someone who is working in a team, I would encourage a sense of acceptance to the situation. So, okay, now we're working from home. Let us find the best place to do this Zoom call and allow ourselves 45 minutes of quiet time, and prepare mentally for the meeting, and choose your meetings. Don't accept any meeting. Ask yourself, do I really need to be there? And also ask myself, where is my attention before I attend any meeting? Is it in the past? Is it in the future? Am I present right now? Do I know what is my intention for the meeting? What are my goals? And really write them down, be prepared to any meeting, and come with an open mind to really connect. And don't multitask whilst you're being on these meetings, right? Don't Zoom and open your mailbox, because eventually you will lose more than you think.
Yes, you lose energy and you lose focus, and yeah, and you can't connect with the other people that you are dealing with at the same time.
Absolutely. And you don't have to attend any meeting, but if you choose to attend,
Mm.
make sure you're mindfully there.
Yes.
Make the best out of your presence, right? And unfortunately, the way the world works today, it allows us to tackle too many tasks at the specific time, and then it harms us in a
Yeah.
way that we're not aware of. It's automatic. And I think as we train ourselves to be mindful, and with the unitasking and all of those practices of choosing where the focus is, it's very easy to make sure that we make the best out of our presence during the working day.
I like the way you described it, because I feel like as an employee, I can take charge of what I'm thinking at this moment in time. I can choose to be present. I can get organized. I can choose to focus. I can reduce the multitasking and focus at one task at hand. But at the same time, if leaders within organizations accept and understand that as well, they'll be able to help their own people throughout the process. So I do deal with a lot of people whereby they are literally WhatsApping, emailing, calling, Zoom calling their people on the same subject. And then it creates a lot of anxiety and fear. And you spoke about psychological safety, because their teams are at that point in time feeling the need to respond throughout all of those tools, in because they are not feeling safe in their own jobs or roles.
Sure.
So then it becomes like I feel forced to multitask. I feel forced to use all of those tools. I feel forced to focus on multiple things at the same time. And as you mentioned, that actually reduces productivity. So it reduces engagement, and
By
it's just
40%. By
yeah,
40%. It's
exactly.
incredible. When you realize that you're losing much of your attention, right? There is a switching cost when you're
Yes.
losing from one task to another.
Yeah.
Then you have to tackle it in real time. And that's the beauty of mindfulness, that you start realizing when you multitask. And
Yes.
maybe that's a nice way also to recommend those leaders who are listening to us right now, to recommend your employees to unwind during the weekends, really to unplug, to understand that we need also time to ourselves without the media, just digital detox. And this will also energize their teams to work better, and it will motivate people to really focus on what they need if they have enough free time.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Dana. Really, I appreciate it. It's a completely different way of looking at things. A lot of leaders have chosen to micromanage their people during this transition, instead of trusting them and empowering them and giving them the space and to do their work in the best way that they think, that whatever they think is right. So yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for joining us. We really appreciate you sharing your expertise.
And I think you're spot on. I think empathy is one of the most important traits in a leader. And the more we foster it, and it's my personal mission to bring empathy into the workplace. So I completely agree, and I encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. Actually, our next session and discussion will be with the CIO and a CIO's perspective on how digital transformation enables remote and virtual work. So until next time, in the meantime, you can tweet us on @OneCircleHR and follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. And Dana, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
So many channels, I'm I'm exposed everywhere. So via email or Twitter or LinkedIn. LinkedIn would be the best, but you can visit our website and check also our work, and hopefully we can support you throughout these difficult and challenging times. We're more than happy to do so.
Perfect. Thank you. And we will as well share the details. And thank you. And then see you next time.
Thank you. All the best. Take care. Be safe.